Okay guys, I'm going to start tearing this engine down today and hopefully get it out. I'll be recording everything with my camera mounted on the tripod up here. Well, let's get started. Alright guys, I'm getting ready to remove this balancer belt. And this is pretty much how I found it. I did just put a little yellow dot up there so that way you could see it in the video. That right there is the tension side, and you can see it's about the 11 o'clock position. And as you come up to this pulley here, you can tell it's not adjusted correctly, because you should only be able to slip about a credit card through there. And you can also see that it's rubbing on the water pump pulley a little bit. Alright, so whenever you end up with a situation like that, just make sure that you're at the 5 o'clock position and not the 11 o'clock position. You can see the belt's nowhere near the pulley anymore, and you'll have your proper space for this idler pulley here. So normally when I'm removing the timing belt, I'll loosen this nut here and this bolt here, and then grab this nut down here with a 17mm wrench, and that will swing the arm of the tensioner down out of the way and slacken the belt. However, in this case, it appears that something isn't right and it just keeps spinning. Now we're making some progress. Everything looks good. Everything looks like it's here. Just a few things missing, but not bad at all. There's some Permatex underneath this cam tower that's oozing out, and with the correct gasket, a new gasket, you should never have to use any Permatex. There's a piece of cardboard sticking out from under the cam tower. We might just have a homemade gasket up underneath this. Alright, I'm in the middle of removing this cam tower, and I thought I'd give you a few tips to make this a little bit easier. So here's the tools I'll be using to remove the cam tower. I'll be using both long and short 6mm hex keys. The long set gets in the top of the cam tower, and the short set goes along the bottom. Notice that neither of these have the ball tips because they're prone to breaking off in bolts, and then you have to drill them out, and that's a disaster. You'll also want a telescoping magnet for this job because the bolts don't always come out of the top of the cam tower and they can fall down inside, so this will really save you sometimes. It is indeed some sort of cardboard being used as the gasket. You can see that there's even this RTV on the valve springs. Look at that. Alright, I have the cam tower off now, and here's a better look of that cardboard gasket. Alright, I'm going to try and get this head off today. Considering this cardboard gasket, there's no telling what else we'll find in this engine, so let's get to digging. To remove the head, I've got a 25-inch breaker bar and a 19mm deep well socket. I just got the head off, and it looks as if someone changed the head gasket and never ran the engine. So here's the head. See how the valves are still straight. Overall, it's a really straight, nice head. Still see gasket material on here where they didn't take it off. I'll probably be sending this out to the machine shop for the end of the day. Also found this up here. You can see that the gasket for the heater core is upside down. That would probably leak if I tried to drive this car, so it's always good to go through and make sure that everything's done correctly on these engines. So here's a look at the head gasket I removed. You can see it was brand new. So they must have been replacing the head gasket and putting the engine back together. Let's look at the other side. You can see here part of the old gasket material. So this was probably not going to seal too well, and this head gasket would have probably had a very short life. So I'm just going to use this new razor here and start working and scraping some of this off. Okay, so now I have all the gasket material off, and you'll know you did a good job when you don't see any like scrapes from the blade in your surface. Alright guys, that's it for this episode. In the next one I'll start pulling the engine. So until next time.